1022 subsection C allows detention under the law of war without trial until the end of hostilities authorized by the authorization for use of military force. So you can be held forever without receiving a trial until they determine that the hostilities are over. The National Emergency Centers Act, or H.R. 645, mandates the establishment of national emergency centers to be located on military installations for the purpose of providing temporary housing, medical, and humanitarian assistance to individuals and families dislocated due to emergency or major disaster, according to the bill. The legislation also states that camps will be used to provide centralized locations to improve the coordination of preparedness, response, and recovery efforts of the government, private, and nonprofit entities, and faith-based organizations. Okay, so the camps are going to be used for, all of these things plus faith-based organizations, your 501c3 corporate religious entities of the state, of the U.S. government. The bill also provides that camps can be used to meet other appropriate needs as determined by the Secretary of Homeland Security. What, like slaughterhouses? Or, guillotine factory? I mean, what are we talking about? What are these other appropriate needs? This is a carte blanche mandate that many fear could mean the forced detention of American citizens in the event of widespread rioting following a national emergency or total economic collapse. So the conclusion, what pastor could in good conscience participate in this heinous program? Well, I guess 100,000. That's supposedly the high-end estimate. Only a pastor who has turned their back on Jesus could ever be part of such a charity. But I would venture to say if you interviewed the vast majority of these 100,000, they think they're doing pretty good with God. They think they've done nothing wrong. They're obeying Romans 13, and they've thrown the Bible out, and all they care about is what the government thinks. And that means that they're of God. They're a man of God. So the pastors in America are being coerced to participate in this because, in part, when an emergency is declared, no pastor who does not have the FEMA-trained government badge will be allowed to be in the declared emergency area. Pastor Mansfield and many other pastors that I spoke with felt strongly that this was the government's way of removing Jesus from America's landscape and setting the stage for the ushering in of the New Age one-world religion. Absolutely. It's that big of a deal. Most likely this will be the linchpin. It is mind-boggling to fathom how so many reporters and media types deny the existence of FEMA camps under these circumstances. It is also disturbing that any pastor would agree to participate in a program in which Jesus and the Bible end up on the cutting room floor. The only viable way to preserve Christianity is for all Christians to leave their churches and form Bible home study groups. Okay, that's his opinion. Okay, obviously if their church is a 501c3, if it's not yoked up with the government, I mean, that wouldn't be the case. But, I think that hopefully there are 501c3 pastors out there that are going to get their eyes open, that try to get out of the system, and I'm going to give you some resources on how to do that here coming up shortly. This goes on by saying, since I began investigating and this is Dave Hodges, this report's from him, since I began investigating how widespread the takeover of the church is by DHS and FEMA, I have been contemplating the potential wisdom of Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who made the following quote, where he said, quote, "We should have resisted the KGB at the front door. If the KGB thought that they might not go home that night, the Russian people might have had a different fate. And as a result of what the Russian people let happen to them, Stalin killed, I think, conservatively 50 million. I mean, of his own people.